Hey, Justin here from Spec VIP with another executive close protection tip for you. Today's tip: there's more than one right way to do something. When it comes to teamwork, the right way is the same way. So, there's lots of ways of doing something. When I used to work as an instructor in the defensive tactics world, we would always teach our students one way to do something because it made it easier to retain and easier to use. Perfect example was always handcuffing. Show the students one way to apply the handcuffs in pretty much every situation, and when it came down to the time to actually use that skill, they'd be much more capable of doing it because they had one way to do it. But then when you start talking with other people and working with other trainers and other instructors out there, seeing how other people do things, you realize, well, there's lots of ways to put handcuffs on. And the same thing applies to anything. But in executive close protection, when we're starting to work as a team and we're working with other people, if I have a right way and somebody else has a right way, doing it differently is wrong. Picking one right way and being consistent is right. So when you work with a team, the right way is the same way. This applies to when you're doing advances. You want to go through similar thought process, look at similar processes, similar methods to how you're doing things, and get some consistency down to advance work. Attire. How you dress needs to be consistent. You don't want to overdress your VIP. You don't want to underdress your VIP. You don't want to overdress a situation. You don't want to underdress a situation. Well, the same thing applies to the team. If you're the guy that always wears the suit to work, and the VIP is wearing casual and the rest of the team is wearing casual, well, the whole organization, the VIP included, is going to look like amateurs. Okay? So when it comes to attire, it's got to be consistent. Arrivals and departures. I've had more debates with industry professionals over where to stand, how to open the door, who does what. At the end of the day, we're arguing semantics when it comes down to it. And as long as we're not under fire, not a huge deal how one opens the door, where somebody stands, and all those little tidbits of information or tidbits of nuances that people have a tendency to get wrapped around on a regular basis. However, there is something to be said for doing things consistent, especially in a team environment. If one person does it one way and another person does it the other way, the VIP gets used to certain ways. They get used to a certain level of consistency, and that consistency creates comfort for them. That consistency allows your team to be trusted. It creates an aura of professionalism. If one person opens the door this way and one person stands here and another person does this and another person's wearing that, you're going to look inconsistent. Your inconsistency is going to become questioned. Once you start getting questions, you're going to become even further under a microscope. And then that's going to lead to potentially an erosion of trust between your team and the VIP. So the important element here is that there's lots of right ways to do things. And if you're by yourself, you're a solo operator, a solo practitioner, well, and you only work with one VIP, then that's all you really need to know. But when you start working with different VIPs, you're going to have to start adjusting how you work. And when you start working with a team, you got to find the right way for that team to be consistent. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it the same way every single time. There's room for modifying fundamentals. There's room for adapting to the environment. Absolutely. But there's something to be said for ironing out the details in consistency. In the military, they create things like SOPs. You see them in lots of organizations, standard operating procedures. I've thrown this term out recently quite a bit, and it scares people because everybody thinks it's policy and it's the way things have to be done. And as soon as we start putting things down on paper, it becomes a rule, and then that rule becomes the standard and we can't deviate from that. No. SOPs, standard operating procedures, are ways of making things easier through consistency. That simple. They're ways of making things faster when you're under stress and things go bad. You don't have to think about it because it's a standard operating procedure. You've programmed it into your psyche to do something a certain way all the time. The best example of this is weapons fundamentals. If every time you draw your weapon, it's the exact same way, if every time you load, reload, unload, go through your stoppages, okay, if you have the same body mechanics every single time, you don't have to think about it, you just do it. Now, if you start doing something differently, or the situation changes, then you still have a brain and you can still think it through and work it through. And the more training you have and the more experience you have, the easier that'll come, the faster that'll come. And the same thing applies to teamwork in VIP operations. If the team always does things the same and understands the reason why they do things that way, then it's going to be so much smoother. It's going to be so much more fluid during routine situations, and it's going to be even more fluid during emergencies. Especially if you practice together, you train together on a regular basis, you work out the details together, you leave your ego at the door and say, just because I took this course 20 years ago, this is how it's done, or I took a course 5 minutes ago from Justin and he knows everything, so that's the way it has to be. No. Okay, the right way to do it is the same amongst the team. Now, if there's leadership involved, which I hope there is, that leadership is going to be a big part of this decision because they've got experience. They know what's worked before and what hasn't. The more experience somebody has in these situations, working as a team, working in the organization, working for the VIP, the more they're going to be able to understand what's worked in the past and what hasn't, and be able to apply that to creating some common, consistent fundamentals so that everybody looks professionally and so that everybody operates properly when things are going good and when things are going bad. Like I said, there's more than one right way to do something. When it comes to teamwork, the right way is the same way. I hope you liked that tip and found it useful. If you did, please give it a like and a share so we can help others and spread the word. Also, please use the comments to add your thoughts or anything I missed. If you want more great content, head to our website at www.specvip.ca. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, why not subscribe to this channel? We have a lot more great resources like this for you coming that you don't want to miss out on. You can also email us at contact@specvip.ca. We really enjoy getting all your questions, comments, and your own tips too. Stay safe, folks. Keep developing and wash your hands. And we have recently introduced online training as a way to help more people around the world. We've launched this new empowering endeavor with our most popular course. Our VIP Close Protection Site Liaison course is now available in a new format for anyone who wants to enhance their localized VIP close protection capabilities. To learn more, head to specvip.ca/online-training and click on the course. We are looking to add more great courses soon. Sign up for our newsletter to ensure you don't miss out on great content, amazing deals, and to get a copy of our free ebook, Excellence, Influence, and Impact, Insights into Success from Top International Influencers in Executive and Close Protection.